How you guys doing? It's that time again. Yes, it's your favorite time going over the hero index at the moment for the VYRAJ faction. And if you've not checked out my previous videos, I have already done quite a few on your favorites, maybe like the Omeokans. I've even done Olympus and the Akur faction for you all. So we're on technically the fourth one already. And this week I am planning on getting another 2 of these out. So if you've got anything that's your favorites, let me know and I'll try and get that one out sooner for you guys. But we're going to be going through all of the obviously commons, uncommons, rares, epics, and legendaries, and just get an idea of what their kit does. Maybe if I like them on first impressions, if I don't like them, where I might be using them in content, and maybe just giving you guys just ideas of potentially heroes that just come to mind for a really good little team synergy. So with that, you know what to do. Smash like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to join a really cool pantheon like my own with The Adventures of Adam and Bradbod Gaming, Zoo, and many other content creators, come over. We've got the link down in the description down below and in today's video. As many of you guys should know, we're going to be using the Raven Pyros website here that's giving us all these good buffs and debuffs, and guess what, that'll be in the description down below too. So with that, let's get into the fun stuff. Let's talk about these heroes. Let's get into it. And I know you guys really hate me for doing this, but I do prefer working top to bottom. So if you want to talk about a certain hero, especially any of these legendaries, you probably want to go towards the end of the video. But if you want to just stick around and actually listen to it all properly, like a little mini podcast, come and join the D-Gens. So straight away we got our first hero. It's the common Osenia, and Osenia is going to be a disruptor. And the thing is, when we scroll down, nothing too crazy, but does give us really early access to sleep, right? So we can attack one target 300%. It's only 30% chance. It's nothing insane at all, but it's early sleep if we need it. But then you get attack an enemy again, 75% chance to place sleep on that target. So you can see how you can call or ultimate something, hopefully place a sleep on them for 1 turn, hopefully use your basic to extend that to 2 turns if you are lucky rolling the dice, or maybe if you just got super high accuracy. Is it insanity? No, but it's one of these things again that I want to point out with commons, and we're going to see it with some rares potentially. Keywords early on, because if you need this for a mechanic for a dungeon, you need to know that you can get access to this with any hero that you might have randomly pulled, even a common. I know it sounds crazy, but you can brute force content. So keep an eye on that, right? If you need a sleep, we've got one in Osenia for our common here in the VYRAJ faction, which is actually pretty good. Uncommon now, we've got Vampire, and if this isn't bleed, I swear to God, I'm going to lose my nutting. We've got the Disruptor of the archetype here. Wisdom as well, so not too shabby. Quite easy to get on. And here we go. Attacks one enemy, places drain. Interesting. So early access to drain 1 again if you need it. Attacks one enemy 2 times, not too bad. 30% chance to place despair. Despair is a good disable, guys. So for those newbies out there, if you scroll all the way down, despair prevents buffs or positive effects being placed. During this is reduced when receiving a buffer effect. So if you get buffed, it goes down a tick. But if they don't take any buffs, you skip their turn. Very powerful, I'm going to be honest. Very powerful. Very much stronger than sleep. Many people will know sleep, you just need to take damage and then it will reduce the obviously turn meter. But if they don't take any damage, they will skip their turn. The incentive though is they take 30% increased damage from attacks. It just feels like it's a little bit too low, and maybe this gets a little bit of an increase over time, especially through early access. But we'll find out how powerful that is properly when we get to play the game, right? So now we've got Insatiable Thirst, attacks one enemy, 320%, 25% attack, places Curse 1 though on the target for 1 turn, and if the attack crits, you also steal Divinity and Turn Meter. So that again is very powerful just a little early game effect to get in there. But the Curse 1 is okay. It's nothing too crazy, but it's reducing incoming healing and shields by 25%. It's not much, but hey, it's something, and that's what's going to be kind of the common theme here. Early access to these tools, and you can get other heroes, as people know, with Curse 2 on, which is going to do the 50%, but that's what you work up towards over time. So not too shabby. Bit disappointed there's no bleeding there, but hey ho, I'll take the drain. It makes a bit more sense, obviously draining blood. So I quite like that. So we got this little vampire. First glance, obviously, it's just kind of early game fodder for me for food. But again, if you kind of do need to get access to these tools, I'm going to keep him on the radar because he has 3 different effects that is in his kit, which is actually not too bad to just give him some brownie points, right? Now we've got VYRAJ, the Slayer. Okay, interesting. Woodland Fairy. Comes down, attacks all enemies for 250%. AoE basic, already good. Each critical hit increases this hero's divinity by 5%. So if you did a full team AoE crit, this is a 20% increase on your ultimate. The ultimate says attacks one enemy, 320%. And you have a... Whoa. That's really early. 50% chance for a defense down 2 for 1 turn. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that is really early access to that mechanic. Especially for 1 turn. It doesn't seem, again, like much. I know what you guys are saying. It's only 1 turn, Sneaky. Why are you getting crazy? But when you start playing the game a bit more and trying to get to that mid-max level, and you are really trying to push your team to the absolute maximum, sometimes you know when you need to place a defense down too. And if you have the ability just to place it down at the start of a player's turn, because it's on a ultimate here, you can ultimate and get instant full value with every other ultimate skill, you know, core basic that is gonna come up in the next chain of events, which is a lot of value that you guys keep forgetting about that you can do. Really cool in this game that you can do chain ultimates into skills, and if you've got turn after turn after turn, it can go even crazier. So having a 50% chance on an uncommon is something that I would honestly keep an eye out on. This might be just someone you need early on just to burst through a boss. If you're literally losing out on this boss, bro, putting a defense down 2 on it so they take their defense is decreased by 40% worth of stats is huge. You'll be able to hit so much harder through there. On top of this, she has an extra turn baked into her kit as well. It only attacks 1 enemy, but look, if I can kill someone and then take an extra turn and then go into my basic ability or even my ultimate, I'm pretty darn happy with that. So actually, VYRAJ here, someone to keep an eye out on for. I actually think this is actually an uncommon that's secretly quite nice for a lot of different boss content that you might be needing to do, right? So now we're moving up. We're moving up into the ladders before we get into those cheeky Legos there that are up on screen. We've got the epics and we've got the rares, right? Some of these rares we did get to have access with on the alpha tests on phase 1, 2, and 3. Bork was one of them, Maria Marevna was the second, and the others, as many should know, was Volok the Lack, right? Really cool heroes, and especially Maria was the sleeper pick for many people, not realizing the power of this. And honestly, I'm looking forward to see what potentially these other rares are doing, and seeing if they've done any changes to their kits, right? So Bork is this brawler internal, and it says whenever this hero receives a debuff, he has a 25% chance to retaliate against the attacker. And the thing is, this doesn't sound like a crazy imprint, but when you're going against bosses, especially stuff like Fafnir back in the alpha phases and stuff, he was placing quite a lot of debuffs onto it, and because he was placing so many debuffs, it allowed your team to constantly keep attacking out of turn order with their basic abilities and really chain up a bunch of damage for either stacking up some crit, stacking up bleed, for example, just a variety of different play styles that he was able to do with this imprint. So it looks like it hasn't changed at the moment, and we'll have a double check down here. Basic attacks one enemy, 9% HP, 75% chance to increase the duration of a random debuff on the target. And again, really good basic kit here. You can get this into random joint attacks even early on with a Hippolyta at the moment, and maybe even other heroes in the game that might be able to get some sort of brawler, I believe, right? Brawler joint attack could come to the game. So really good just to get that extension of debuffs. But then we've got the core. Attack one enemy, 13% HP, and has a 75% chance to place Despair for one turn. The thing is, he does place Vanish on himself for 2 turns after attacking, allowing him to basically kind of chill out if he wants to and just get this skill back off cooldown. But the thing is, I don't like this Vanish on the Awakening 5. I just wish something else was there. You know me, I'm not a big Vanish lover. I know some of you guys say I hate on it too much, but look, when you've played against Vanish as much as I have, especially in the alpha, like, it just doesn't impress me. It needs a little bit of an extra oomph to make me really want to pick this up as something as a team, right? Despair, though, is what you're really playing the core for again. As we saw before, Despair stopping any positive buffs on them is huge. And this is, again, denying turn meter increase, divinity increase, because these are positive effects being placed, which is really huge. Again, stopping people from going out of turn and keeping that turn play in your favor. So really do like Borg. He's a really good little brawler here. The ultimate attacks one enemy 3%, 3 times, and 75% chance to steal 1 random buff from the target, and it's so goddamn good that. If the hero is under a Vanish, though, you steal 2 random buffs instead. So that's why you can see why the Awakening 5's there, just to synergize with this. Again, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't like the fact that I need to Awaken 5 this hero to get this buff out there. And I know we could run something like an Anu to try and force the Vanish onto this hero, but this hero needs to be the lowest HP now. And again, I'm feeling like it's just too much work and effort to get this online. Stealing 1 random buff, though, is really good. This does have that opportunity to potentially steal, what, 2 to 3 buffs in theory, if it has the ability to do that. So that's quite good for the tempo swing. You might need that for certain bosses where they've got some crazy buffs and you can hopefully potentially try and steal them, unless this just doesn't work for bosses. And if that's the case, it's going to be a little bit upsetting. Is what it is. But obviously you do have boss wave content, which is like a Zeus in the middle that has some other guys through the campaign pushing too. So it would work on those types of bosses, just not the big dungeon ones, like probably like Fafnir in this case, right? But really good, honestly, a really good hero. And he still has, yeah, the same passive and imprint, so not too shabby at all for a little hero here. So keep an eye on Bork. You'll be surprised, honestly, on how good this little bear deer thing is. We got Kevin De Bruyne. I'm joking, but is it De Bruyne? I'm sticking with it, De Bruyne. I'm pretending it's spelled De Bruyne, but it's not. It's probably Dobrynia. Defender strength. Imprint. Let's go down. Let's not look at the imprint. Let's not spoil it for ourselves. Let's see his full kit first. Attack down 1. Nice. 50% chance for 2 turns, which is quite huge. Having a 2-turn attack down 1 instead of just a 1 turn. So not too shabby for a defender. Core has attack 1 enemy, decent amount of damage, but removes 1 random disable from each ally. Now that is actually a huge little bit of utilities got built into that kit there. And if a disable is removed, you place intercept as well. Oh, I like that one. And if you're wondering why I like that one so much, intercept, really good little ability here, redirects an attack to the hero that placed the intercept. So basically what this does is, if someone was stunned, slept, confused, but your Dobrynia wasn't, he's able to cleanse them and put intercept. So if you're going to attack that target, it forces you to attack him instead. That's really cool. And then when you awaken 5, you no longer require a disable to be removed. You just place intercept instead. I actually think that's a really good actual call for a rare hero. Oh, wow. Yeah, I like that. I really like that. It just allows you to, again, just have this little bit of kit that it's a toolbox, right? Think every hero in Godforge is a piece of a toolbox. So you've got a Swiss Army knife, and you need to pull out the right tool for those situations. And the thing is, having a defender that can remove random disable from each allies, everyone's getting removed, it's huge. And the fact that you can place intercept them all to keep them alive is huge, meaning you only need to really keep the sustain on this hero, which is, again, quite easy in the right team comps, right? Ultimate, place protection 1 and each ally except this hero for 3 turns, and you also place a block debuff on each ally for 2 turns. So you get the protection 1, so this is going to make it so, again, it transfers 40% of the 20% of the damage, should I say, not 40, 20, from your team to this hero, so he's going to take damage upon them. But he also places block debuff on himself and everyone else, which is really, really cool. So yeah, I'm not going to say no to this guy at all. Pass him. When this hero intercepts an attack, you heal a protected ally, and he heals. And if an ally is below 50%, you prevent the intercept from reducing. Oh, why. That's a really powerful imprint. When a hero intercepts an attack, heal the protected ally for 5%. But if they're below 50, you never let the intercept drop. So you forcibly make them always attack your tank. Oh my lord, imagine you got a tank that has retaliate like a Heimdall, bro, with this intercept on 2. Oh boy, oh, that gets me excited. That gets me excited, as you can tell. 18% HP in all battles too, so really good for these broader teams too, and for himself to take the damage. But yeah, holy smokes, what a little rare kit we've got here. Mr. Kevin De Bruyne absolutely coming in. Keep an eye on De Bruyne, the defender in the VYRAJ class, because he's definitely been the most exciting so far. Obviously only rares, but still really exciting to see this hero compared to even Bork so far. So holy smokes. Now we've got Ladder, the Protector. She's an Invoker with Wisdom. You attack one enemy, 230% attack, and then place Initiative up 1 on an ally with the lowest Divinity. This is going to just allow them to get to their ultimates faster. Not too shabby, it's okay. And place Defense up 1 on all allies, and then heal the ally with the lowest HP for 15% of their max HP. So that's not too shabby, because that means you don't need to really care about how at the moment you actually build this hero, right? You just need her at the moment to stay alive, right? Because they're healing on their base HP, or their max HP, should I say, so I don't confuse you guys. You place a Vanish on one ally for 2 turns and increase their Divinity. So you do have a Vanish enabler now in this, which might be something you might need early on. So if you are playing these Vanish-based comps, maybe you picked Mulan because you're crazy, you might want to look for a Ladder, because Ladder's going to be able to allow your Mulan to attack, get the Vanish buff off her now to get the advantage, but then you're able to place the Devoted Prosperity ultimate and put her potentially in Vanish again. You can think about this even with like Tlitza Katzin from the Omeokons, if I remember correctly. He was another disruptor that allowed you to constantly like keep disrupting the enemies by coming in and out of Vanish, which was really freaking cool to see, and that is kind of what I would rather lean into. So the fact that you've got a Vanish enabler is good. It is good for your team. So interesting to see where this comes out in the future. And then the passive says when an ally is healed, all allies receive 10% of the healing amount. So anytime you heal someone with the core ability, your entire team gets 10% of that heal as well. But you also place a shield for the same amount at Awakening 5. That is not too bad. I actually think she's okay. She's not crazy. She's not as hype as Dobrynia by any means, but the fact that she increases your divinity gain, she is a vanish enabler for those team compositions, gives defense up 1 for defenders, which is good, and your team can survive, provides shield and healing as well through this core because of that. It isn't too bad. It's not too bad. And you got to think, the imprint is whenever when an ally is healed, all allies receive 5%. So even if you got this imprint early on and you healed, you know, you put it on someone, right? Well, if they heal through your mend, now all the allies get even more healing. Even if it's a small amount, it'll add up over time. It's a little bit of trickling that happens, and you gain divinity whenever healing an ally. So you can see why it works. Not too bad. Early game healer, always on the lookout for. So if you don't want to use Isolde, a ladder is there for you as a other option. Now, Maria Marevna. This hero was the kind of sleeper pick for many people. Didn't understand the power of her. I really liked her. I recommended this to people. Nah, you don't need a rare hero. Right, let me teach you guys the craziness of this hero. The first thing is actually reading her passive is very important to the kit. You increase damage inflicted by 3% for each buff on the target. So if you attack someone, the more buffs they have, the more damage you scale up and you deal. And I'm telling you, as many people saw, if you went against an ISIS who's stealing buffs and placing constant mends and they've got literally like 10 buffs on them, this was one of the coolest ways of blowing them up, because you did 30% basically more damage to them, and with that damage increase you have 2 insanely good damage abilities that you can build in 2 different ways. Mage Hunter attacks one enemy for 345% attack and places an extra hit if the target has 3 or more attacks. What this means is, buffs, should I say, if they've got an attack up, a defense up, and a mend, this would mean you hit them 2 times for 345%. Full damage, full bang. And it's increased because of the passive. So you really kill that person. On top of this, your core attacks all enemies for 320%. You ignore shield, barrier, and immortal on Awakening 5. Like, brother, you want a soft Ares? Here she is. This is what Ares does, but on a rare hero at a much weaker scale, because obviously Ares is legendary. His AoE is crazy, as you guys know. And this is on a rare hero. This is why she was so freaking good too. On top of this, you have this ultimate, which is so good too. Attacks one enemy 400%. Reduce the defense of the target by 2%. This is stacking up to 5 times. So that's a 10% reduction in defense baked into this ultimate. And you gain 30 whenever an enemy gains a buff. And you get 100 anytime it's an immortal buff. So anytime the enemy does something positive, you could literally just have your ultimate and just go bang and just hit them as a response to it. It is disgusting how good this rare hero is. If you're looking for a super nuker, keep an eye out on Maria Marevna. If you pull her, I am going to tell you now, do not waste this hero as a food option, especially if you're a free-to-play player and stuff, because I can guarantee you, you're going to need her in certain dungeons, certain boss waves through the campaign, and just content in general because of how much damage this rare warrior princess can do. What a hero. Honestly, absolute bonkers. Vesna, another invoker now, the Seer. She attacks one enemy, 300% attack, then places Radiance on the ally with the lowest HP for one turn. And I really like this buff. Radiance is one of my favorites. Reduces damage by 10%, but it does reflect 10% of the damage back to the attacker. This does go up to 20% on rank 2, 30% on rank 3. So just think, even at rank 2, if I reduce the damage by 20% and reflect that damage back at you, oh boy, it adds up. It adds up, boys and girls. Absolutely nasty little basic here. Core heals 10% HP all allies. So instantly, I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to stack as much HP as possible. If an ally is fully healed, you place a shield on them. Okay, it's only 5%. It's not massive, but hey, it's still something. The fact that you can get basically both online at the same time is kind of nasty, right? You can basically full potentially heal your team, and if they're already healed, you're just getting a shield on them. And if you've got someone who places a better shield, this could just shield your team just for a little quick, scrap a bit of shrapnel damage. And once you've taken that shrapnel damage, boom, big shield comes on now. Your team's laughing at them. Carry on as we go, right? So I actually like this hero, not too bad. Ultimate, remove one debuff from all allies, then heals 15% of all allies and extends the duration of one random buff for one turn. And if an ally is fully healed, you increase their turn meter by 20%. Oh, I like this hero. Now, I'm going to be honest. I know Isolde is in the starting comp and she can give you attack up 1 and defense up 1 and she places Mend. I kind of like this hero a little bit more. The fact that I've got a burst heal on her core, I've got a burst heal which is better on her ultimate, I remove debuff, potentially, from all allies, and whatever buffs I've got on my team, I can potentially, extend one of them by an extra turn. That's pretty darn good. And she's bringing Radiance to the party on top of that. So she's reducing damage and healing damage up. Ooh, and she shields. And she shields when you're maxed. I actually think, guys, if you've gotten Solde starting hero, fantastic. But me, I might be Team Vesna. Holy smoke. She's a really good freaking healer, dude. And Passy says, for each buff on an ally, you increase this hero's healing output by 5%. So if you keep buffing up your team, you can basically have a 50% increase on healing output on both of these skills. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's way better. That's way better. You heal way more, surely. You heal way more. Oh, yeah. 100%. The imprint says for each buff on an ally, increase the hero's healing output by 2.5%. So that's fine. And you do literally get divinity whenever you heal an ally. Holy smokes. Imagine the grail on this hero as well. Oh, boys, I'm already thinking. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. If you're wondering what team to put her in, she can be a core healer. Literally. Core healer. Big, massive heal on the core and the ultimate. And she gives you remove debuffs, and she extends your own buffs, and she gives you radiant. Oh boy. Oh boy. Vesna, low-key could be an epic hero. Legit. That's a really good kit for that. Actually, probably taking the #1 spot. I think it goes Vesna. Oh, do I want to say ladder? Really? Do I want to say ladder? She's really cool. Nah, I can't. #1, Vesna. Mr. De Bruyne in #2, Maria #3, ladder 5, and I'll put Bork 4. Now, Valor Delac, he is a disruptor. Pretty cool one though, because he attacks one enemy on the basic, but he does place bleed on the target. And honestly, this is actually overlooked for quite a lot of reasons. It doesn't seem like much because it's bleed, but the thing is, it's 2 stacks, and 2 stacks of bleed adds up, especially when you hit all 10 stacks. You really want to be able to, especially if you're playing something like Dracula, you want to be able to place Dracula with like a Vlot Delac early on to place as much bleed as you can to remove the stacks, to replace them back up, to kind of get the advantage of having the big burst damage that you have through your Dracula, but also to be able to reapply the lost bleed that you've just used up, so you don't really lose as much DPS between turns while you're waiting for that to come back up online, right? And this is good. Honestly, it's a really good little skill here on a basic. The more joint attacks you can get into a team, the more this is going to go up, especially weapons and imprints. Again, joint attacks, you can keep placing this up for you. So a good bleed generator. Also, what's really cool on his kit, he has attack on enemy 2 times, but he has a 20% chance to lock core, and on the Awakening 5 to lock the ultimate. That is huge. And no, it's only a 20% chance. But if you're in PvP, if you're in, let's just say, a boss wave on campaign, this could lock out the team on their core and on their ultimate if you bulldoze it through, which you might need to do. And look, if you bulldoze through because of this, it stops them from doing anything impactful. You're going to have to thank him, right? It's a really cool little ability. It's early on you get access to this. Again, that's why it's only 20% and it's on a rare hero. You can expect epics and legendaries, as we've seen, having higher percentages than 20%. But it's a rare hero. We have to get access to these tools early on. So really good key standout point for this is for these 2 actual points on his kit. He also comes with Despair as well as an AoE attack. So you have a 50% chance to AoE Despair the team. There is a vulnerable here, but you can't see this on anymore. It does seem like they've changed his kit a lot. He has no longer Vanish. He has no longer vulnerable place on. Hey ho, it is what it is. Or they might be adding it on and it's just not in game yet. We'll soon see. So that is Vlot the Lack. He's not too shabby. He's alright. Honestly, he's alright. He's got a purpose in game, and I think that's fine. It should be fine to have a certain purpose in the game and not just be this OP jack of all trades hero that many people are always looking out for, right? So now, here we go, just for you guys. Ding, 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 ding. We're at the finale. We got the epics, we got the legendaries. There's only literally 10 heroes to go. We're going to try and go through these as fast as I can, but some of them might not have kits, just to warn you. And just remember, anytime kits will get updated onto the website, I'm going to try and do some updated videos and go over those updated hero kits that have been put on. So, if you want to keep up to date, join that Sneak Squad, hit the sub button, right? So, Devana, Disruptor, Eternal Hero, and I've already had a look at this hero, and I'm pretty certain I really liked her the first time I saw her. She attacks all enemies of 210%, 35% chance to decrease the turn meter of each target. So really good basic, because again, if I can put some sort of, you know, joint attack or retaliate onto this hero, having an AoE basic constantly decreasing the enemy's turn meter in campaign pushing is kind of disgusting. It just lets you do whatever you kind of want to do. The core, though, attacks all enemies again 2 times for 130%, which is okay. It's not what you're playing it for, because you have a 75% chance to place an attack down 2 and a speed down 2 on each target for 2 turns. Now, I'm going to be honest, that is an insane core for an epic hero. Like, let's be honest with ourselves. Speed down 2 and attack down 2. Just think, 40% decrease in your attack. You've just been hit by 20% decrease in your speed, bro. You ain't beating me anymore. My team is going ahead of yours 9 times out of 10, literally. Absolutely crazy skill here. And the fact that it's a multi-hitter means you might be able to do some really funky things with this, depending on what weapons, what imprints you place on. That might be hit based, which is kind of disgusting. Let's be honest, it's just really disgusting. So ultimate attacks 1 enemy, 75% chance to place a lock core ability for 2 turns, and also has a 75% chance to place sleep on all other enemies for 1 turn. You heard that right. We have an attack down 2, speed down 2 for 2 turns. We now have a lock core ability for 2 turns, and we AoE sleep the entire team that's not that hero on this ultimate. She's so fucking good, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Even though I'm not a big fan of sleep, if you know you're about to do some big combo and you sleep the enemy team and you select the right target and you can put an attack up on your team, get a big boost, and next minute, big bonk of damage goes onto that sleep target, bro, that's 30% increased big bonk. I like 30% increased big bonk. It's quite nice. It might kill them. It might put them to perma sleep. Dead, you know? So, not too shabby because of the whole kit as a whole, right? The passive does say when an enemy receives a turn meter increase, we get retaliate, which is insane because that means anytime they go to turn meter increase, we always hit them with this 20% decrease on an AoE. You also retaliate an enemy decreasing this hero turn meter. So if they literally try to stop her from doing her thing, or they try to go first, bro, we just literally said no. Like, this Divana is one hero, I'm telling you guys now, I am waiting to pull, and as soon as I pull her, I'm putting her in my team. She looks that good. She looks so good, honestly, for a disruptor. Like, it's so nice to see this, honestly. I'm not confined to playing attackers. I don't have to just play slayers, you know? I can play this style. I love that, right? 40% accuracy in all battles, leader bonus. Oh, like, stop talking dirty to me, game. Like, stop. She's already good enough. So Divana, absolutely huge. I actually really like that. Really nice kit. You can use that literally anywhere in the game. So really, really huge. And she's internal, so good to know that, because then she's got no weak hit attributes to any of the other three, like our next guy, Koshe, who's cunning, right? Enemies under resistance down 2, initiative down, inflict 10% less damage attacking to this hero. Disruptor. Scroll down. Attack one enemy, 290%. 75% chance to steal 10% and target divinity. It's okay, not too crazy. Core. Attack all enemies, 260. 50% chance to resistance down 2 and initiative down for 2 turns. I'm going to be honest. I really want to compare these two together. Are we putting 75% chance on these two? Because we're saying these two skills are technically worse than these? So in my head, what I'm trying to say, there's a 50% chance for a reason compared to 75, right? That must mean in the dev's eyes, resistance down and initiative down are considered more powerful tools than an attack down or speed down, because this is a 75% for 2 turns with a double AoE hit, right? Compared to Koshe doing 1 hit for the same amount, basically, but with only 50% chance of hitting. Really interesting, honestly, how this has looked. I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments down below on this one. I want to see 75%. I'm going to be honest. Maybe it's too powerful, but if it is, that means Divana's too powerful. And this needs to be a 50%er, right? Right? Like, am I the only one thinking like this? Like, holy smokes, boys. Ultimate. Attack one enemy. Equalize the HP of all allies equal to the HP of the enemy before attacking. So if we attack someone on 100% HP, our entire team gets fully healed. But if we attack someone on 10% HP, our whole team goes to 10% HP. It's such a weird skill, that, isn't it? If the target HP falls below 50% HP, you also reduce their divinity. So if we do target someone above 50%, we make them reduce 30% divinity because they'll hit below the 50% threshold of this attack, right? That's the aim. And so the way it looks like to me is you're trying to use this to heal your team, right? You're always going to target the highest HP enemy on the enemy's roster to heal your team up. But the issue is, if your team's already higher HP than them, you don't want to equalize anymore because you're not healing. You're technically killing your own team, right? So interesting. If the target is under a resistance down or initiative down, this is the Awakening 5 bonus, you increase their core ability cooldown by 2 turns and place lock ultimate by 1. Okay, so now this makes a bit more sense. The Awakening 5 makes a lot more sense. So if you call their team and you land this CC, you arguably get a stronger bit of crowd control baked into the ultimate. But it's only for one target, though. My brain's trying to figure out, is it really that worth it? But it's only 750 divinity, meaning it's super easy to get. You get 100 divinity whenever someone goes below 51%. So you only need to deal 49% of the damage to get the ultimate. And if you do that 7 times, you get this off. Okay. And then we inflict 20% less damage. Enemies under resistance down and initiative down. So, okay. So he's literally giving you damage reduction potentially in your team if he has the core ability. And if he has the core ability firing off, he has this really powerful Awakening 5 attached to the ultimate. But is it enough to make me want to run him over Divana, especially when he's got this type of basic ability? No leader bonus as well. You know what? I'm going to say no. I think he's a really cool hero, though. I am going to probably use him and see how cool it plays out. But I'm going to be honest, Divana is eternal, so you expect it to be a bit more powerful than a normal, maybe cunning, wisdom, or strength-based hero. But it feels like I'm doing a lot more hoop jumping for Koshi than I am for Divana, and I'm not a big fan of that. Now we got Leshy, which is a Slayer, which caught me completely off guard. Holy, okay. So we attack one enemy for 340% with a 35% chance to place vulnerable, oh my lord, vulnerable 2 for 2 turns. Oh my lord, look at that. So this is really powerful because if you're playing Bleed, Acid, Blaze, all of these type of, keywords, they deal damage over time. These are debuffs that deal damage. That's 40% increase on those abilities. That means your Lady Shock that you might have picked in the star team, and same with Ramses, gets instant value in their damage output, which is not too shabby. It's on a basic. Only 35%. But that's enough if you can keep getting it off and off and off, right? Core attacks all enemies. 75% chance to place Acid. Exactly what I expected. So for those newbies, Acid is just disabling armor sets, which is really powerful. But you also deal 5% max HP to the damage at the start of their turn. And if they've got barriers or shields, it doubles up. So it's kind of like an anti-shield one for that purpose, right? So Acid is designed to kind of counter gear and counter shields, like just that type of stuff. The fact that you can put this on them, vulnerable to them, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice for that. The Awakening 5 says if this hero is under Vanish, I have a 35% chance to place vulnerable 2 on all enemies for 1 turn. Okay. Do I get to place... Okay, the ultimate does it. Okay, so attacks all enemies, 410%. If this defeats an enemy, you have a 75% chance to place Sleep on all enemies for 1 turn. And after attacking on the Awakening 3, I place Vanish on myself for 2 turns. So, Awakening 3, we go into our Harry Potter cloak. No one can see us anymore, right? We're protected. No more scary storms, right? Then we can use our basic to then try and get the AoE vulnerable onto the enemy team and try to get some extra damage over time going off. And at the same time, we have 50% chance to increase the divinity by 5% when we're attacking under Vanish. The issue I have, even though I like the theory behind it, 1500 divinity. That's a lot of divinity. and I need to gain 20 divinity inflicting damage to an enemy, and I get another 20 when I attack under. So I get 20 damage, 20 divinity anytime I deal damage. But then I get 40 divinity if I do it under vanish. No. Bro, that's so hard. That feels so hard to do in this kit without someone like we saw earlier, who is that vanish enabler, who can keep placing vanish on a random ally or place vanish on all allies, right? We need something like that to really get this going, and I'm not feeling it. I'm going to be honest. This is why I'm not a big vanish lover. I feel like it's too many steps to really make vanish and that hero work, and the vanish doesn't really accomplish anything in this game. Not compared to other games that we've seen. I'll be honest, it just doesn't, right? It just doesn't feel good at all. Mokosh. So, she is an invoker. Attacks one enemy 220%, increase the turn meter and divinity of the ally with the highest attack by 5%. Now, this is really good. Why is this really good? You got to think, in the game, sometimes you honestly just want to try to, you know, as I call it from Magic the Gathering, Voltron your commander, right? You want to literally put all the equipment, all the buffs, everything onto one guy, and that one guy is going to carry your team. The fact that I can increase the turn meter of my Ares and his divinity, no matter what, by 5% every single time I basic attack with this hero, means they're always going to go off more faster than the enemy team. Especially when I get random attacks joining in. As soon as I get retaliates involved, bro, this is going to start cooking really, really fast. On top of this, we got our core. Place Radiance 2 and Stalwart on the target ally for 2 turns. So instantly, we basically reduce damage by 20% since we saw that buff earlier on. And reflect damage back 20% from the Radiance. Stalwart means we're immune to disables. So we can't be disabled during that for 2 triggers, which is huge. But if the target is aligned with order, we place a defense up 2 for 2 turns. If they're a chaos hero, we then place an attack up 2. So basically, if they're evil, we give them damage. If they're good, we give them defense for 2 turns. That is 4 different buffs that you're placing through one hero. I'm going to be honest, looking for, what's her name? Mokosh for a Excalibur user looks freaking great. Looks absolutely huge. You also have a Revive Ultimate. Revive one defeated ally, 30% HP, 30% turn meter, and place Phoenix on the target for 1 turn. So if they try to die, they'll revive back up, which is huge. Awakening 5 gives Phoenix to all allies. So everyone gets this Phoenix buff on them. Phoenix is just another way to kind of revive in the game. If the hero is defeated, revives them with 50% HP, 50% turn meter. Buff is removed upon activation, right? Quite easy. Amazing. And when an enemy is defeated, you heal 1500% initiative on all allies and increase their turn meter by 20%. So if you actually do a super high initiative build to really have the revive always online for your heroes, that's going to benefit your team, because then whenever they kill someone, they're going to get this massive burst healing from the harvest of the cycle, right? And then that's going to keep them sustained. And if they die, don't worry, Guardian Mother's here, that she's bringing you back, and she's able to give you this Stalwart Radiance and potentially defense up if you're in order. She's really good. Holy smokes. Add 18% increase in initiative in all battles, and you get 10 divinity whenever an ally is healed, and you're able to do that very often. I like it, man. I like this hero. I like this hero a lot. I like the fact that I can... The basic is really good for my main DPS. I like the fact that she works in my team with the core. I like the fact that she revives really early on, and she has a little bit of healing baked into the kit. Yeah, man. keep an eye on Mokosh. I'm going to be honest, VYRAJ really does have, big shout out to this faction, some really good disruptors and invokers. Their invokers and disruptors have so far, out of all of the classes we've seen, impressed me the most. I mean that, right? Really, really cool. So now we've got Polonista. And Polonista is currently under review. So we don't know what this hero is going to do, as you can see, right? We have to wait until they introduce this into the game, but she is going to be a Slayer, so keep an eye on some sort of DPS-based skills for the Midday Madness, Restless Pursuit, Maiden's Wrath, and the Oppressive Heat. This could be something to do with Blaze. If this has got heat involved, Maiden's Wrath could be placing that Blaze, and same with the Midday Madness, could be placing Blaze or triggering Blaze if they've got it. We'll have to wait and find out. I have no clue about the lore of that hero. Now, final 5, and oh boy, what a good final 5. I don't know if I should start left to right or right to left. They're all gonna be good either way. So let's go with what you're probably waiting for, Bellowbog, because Bellowbog I've already seen, and he's insane. He's an internal invoker in the game. He attacks one enemy for 350% attack and places an attack up to on all allies for 1 turn. Yes, you heard right. A 40% increase in your damage right now, basically. You're getting that stat up. We're getting those rookie numbers and we're increasing them on our kit. Absolutely huge, especially for joint attacking, as you can imagine, in a lot of builds. Core ability. Please block debuff and Stalwart on all allies for 2 turns. Attacks all enemies for 200% attack. Also, decrease the cooldown of an all allies core abilities by 1 turn. And if Chernobog is on the team, he joins the attack using his core ability. So if we core, he cores. And that's kind of disgusting. That is one of the strongest, literally, combinations we've seen in the game. On top of this, he also, as you can see, decreases the cooldown of all allied core abilities by 1 turn. When you awaken 3, you just instantly refresh the cooldown of all allied core abilities. Brothers, I don't think you understand. This is going to be disgusting. We've already seen Apollo. Imagine you got Apollo with a Bellowbog in your team. If you want to build the core engine of core engines, you're going to be wanting them to, because he's going to reduce all core abilities instantly. Then you've got your Apollo at the end, able to potentially just reduce everyone's cooldowns by 1 turn again to get this up sooner, to get the full refresh again in the next turn. Boys, absolutely crazy. I can't wait to see this hero in action. Honestly, he is already, as you've guessed it, is kind of like what Apollo does, but he's more offensive. Apollo brings mend. Apollo brings acid. He also brings that attack up 2 on his core. But this guy brings an attack up 2 on the basic. He has no mend here on any of the basic or cores. He's not healing. He's all about trying to kill the enemies as fast as possible. That's why you got 2 different kits, but very similar playstyles in these heroes, right? Ultimate. Increase the rank of all buffs on all allies by 1, and decrease the rank of all debuffs on all allies by 1. You also equalize the turn meter of all allies to the enemy with the highest turn meter. Guys, this again is just insane that your team has. You gotta think, anytime we're looking at any of these skills in the game, every single hero has had a number 2. So that's a 40% transfer on the protection. That is a 40% increase in attack, or a 40% increase in accuracy. Now you're cheating. Now you're playing God mode. Now you're in rank 3 territory. We're at 60%, 60%, 30% here, 60%. Dude, that is insanity. And on top of this, you're reducing potentially a rank 2 buff into a rank 1. Like, Oi, 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 Bellabog, like literally behave. And when an ally receives a debuff, you decrease the duration by 1 turn. I'm going to be honest, if you're trying to play bleed against this hero, he could instantly counter bleed teams from the way this sounds. And if you try and just place literally a 1 turn attack down 2, defense down 2, anything like that, guess what? It doesn't matter. It doesn't exist anymore. It's getting decreased by 1 turn. That's 0. 1 of 0 is 0, bro. It's easy. So absolutely nuts. And when you awaken 1, when an ally receives a buff, you're increased the duration by 1 turn. Dude, this hero is bonkers, and he should be. He's getting a 25% attack in all battles, bro. He is an eternal invoker. Woo! What a boy. Absolutely menace to society. I'm going to be honest, you can run this with Chernobog, but for many people who have been looking at this hero properly, you can be running him in core team engines, where you're running a Bellabog, Apollo with 2 other heroes to make this insane core team. You can also run him in teams that are very heavy buff heavies, so you can obviously keep the buffs up on your team and lower the buffs on your enemy team. Absolutely versatility out of his mind. Chernobog, though, is a slayer, and the thing is, compared to the brother of him, Bellabog, he is still an absolute bonkers hero, but in a different direction, right? You attack 1 enemy 400%, 50% chance to place Terrify on the target. First time we've seen this on the kits. You increase divinity costs by 50%. 1250. Just think that's 625 added on. I need to get to 1875 divinity now in order to cast my ultimate. Already insane. That's for 2 turns, by the way. If this hero joins an attack or retaliates, this attacks all enemies 400% instead, and attacks, ignores, intercept, and charm. So these 2 mechanics that are basically designed to protect your team, don't worry, they don't protect you anymore. Chernobog here is literally killing you. And what's really powerful is the core. The core is the enabler, right? So if we read the enabler, he attacks 1 enemy 3 times, places retaliate on his hero for 2 turns. So this is where we can get that AoE attack instead that can place Terrify, which is just disgusting. But if the Bellabog is on the team, the buffs cannot be removed or reduced. Also, if the enemy is defeated, you increase this hero's divinity by 100%, meaning you get to press the ultimate instantly if you defeat an enemy with this hero. And why is this allowed? Just think, if you play Chernobog, you can press that core ability, which we just saw, get all of those buffs, and then this comes in after. Oh boy, that's a lot of damage, right? Awakening 3 places Phoenix on this hero, which does not reduce on turn, which is just huge. Absolutely bonkers ability. Then you've got the ultimate here. Attacks 1 enemy 3 times. If the target max HP is greater than this hero, each hit will inflict an additional 5%. Absolutely massive in boss fights. But then if the target is lower than you, each hit will strong hit, meaning you get to kill, you get to close down the fight, and you get to place Banish on the enemy for 2 turns. Banish means if you try to revive them, you can't. It takes a Banish tick. So that means if you try to, you know, revive your team now, or the enemy tries to revive their team, they need to try to revive them 3 times in order to get that revive off. So Banish is very good to counter revive-based teams. The passive is after this hero joins an attack, gains an extra turn, or retaliates, this hero's next ability ignores 15% target defense, allowing you to burst through people. You also ignore shield, barrier, immortal, ward, and defense up. So you literally hit them for their true stats, and you don't care about anything else. On the Awakening 5, after every 5 turns, if this hero is defeated, you revive this hero with 100% HP and turn meter. And if Bellabog is on the team, you remove Banish and block revive before reviving. So you literally no matter what. If you got Bellabug on the team with Chernobog, he's permanently reviving after 5 enemy turns. So if you can play a team that can really play turtle, survive as much as possible, Chernobog could be your control piece and be the win con of that team, right? So absolutely huge. People says he might not be a PvP hero, but with the right team, I actually think he could be a very good PvP hero, and more importantly, fucking insane in every other piece of content that you're going to play. Really cool hero. Can't wait to use both of these brothers in there. If you didn't know, they represents the good and the bad in the Slavic lore, right? Dracula, we know Drax already. Really good bleed-based hero. And if you want to play bleed, he attacks one enemy, 75% chance to place 1 stack of bleed. But you also heal if they're under bleed. So I know it's only 1 stack, but this is why we mentioned earlier on, you got Vlok the Lack. You've even got Achilles as well that can place bleed. So you're going to be looking at these heroes to honestly place bleed. Yes, it's 1 stack. It's 2 times though. So you got 2 stacks here, potentially. 2 stacks from Vlok the Lack. That's 4 stacks. With Achilles, it's 3. So you have 5. So you can see with that, the engine is online, right? The core ability also places 2 stacks on all enemies. You remove 1 random buff from each target, and if a buff was removed, you place 3 stacks of bleed instead, and you gain an extra turn. Really powerful ability. This is different compared to before. Much better on the actual Dracula area. So we can literally get what? Instantly 3 stacks of bleed into our basic. So we could go core basic. That's 5 stacks of bleed on 1 target instantly. That's pretty good. While 3 stacks of bleed are on everyone else, basically, on the team. Ultimate attacks all enemies 4 times. Huge. This is what we know him for. But before you attack, you consume all stacks of bleed, and each target increases the damage inflicted by per stack of bleed. So it's basically 8% per stack of bleed. If you get 10, that's an 80% damage increase on this skill. And I know what you're thinking, is it worth it? And the sad reality, in Alpha 1, 2, and 3, it wasn't. However, the devs know this, and the devs have done some tweaking, and I'm pretty certain it's 8% higher than what it was. Also, the Awakening 5 destroys each target's HP for 10% of the damage inflicted, up to 60%. So you've actually got one of the first heroes that I've seen that can actually destroy target max HP, but it's on the Awakening 5. I know it sounds really hard, but listen, you got Echo Summons. So even the Awakening 1, you attack 1 enemy. This says it places 1 stack of bleed on all enemies instead. So even though you're attacking 1 guy, you're placing an AoE 2-man stack bleed on the Awakening 1 as soon as you Echo Summon 1 time. Right? Which is quite huge. Quite huge. And again, with joint attacks, with Retaliate, we can really, really get this going, right? We'll look down, we get Divinity for placing bleed, and at the start of your turn, if they're under bleed, we increase the damage of our next attack by 10%. So he is your bleed payoff. If you want to play bleed comps, you want a Dracula, I'm going to be honest, he's the payoff for your team. Is he going to be insane? We'll have to wait and see. And that's only because in the Alpha Stages 1, he was pretty broken, but that's just because of the builds that we were running. But in Alpha Stages 2 and 3, bleeds basically have been seen to hit a certain threshold. And without a weapon that can trigger bleed stacks and keep triggering multiple instances of damage, the amount of damage bleed does to a boss over time, especially for like a dungeon boss or like a clan boss where you're trying to hit maximum damage as possible, it doesn't get to the stupid high numbers compared to what we saw out there in joint attack builds and any other build, that is, honestly. But it does do a decent chunk. So that's the current state of bleed. It might change when we hit the actual game though. Remember that bleed could be much better than what it was when we played it in alpha. Last two, per run. He's a disruptor, strength, attacks one enemy with a 100% attack and initiative 2 times. 50% chance though to place speed down 2 on the target for 2 turns. And that is huge. Whoever you hit, they ain't moving for a long time. Let's be honest. They're going to be probably going dead last in turn order, which is good. Core attacks all enemies, 75% chance to reduce turn meter of each target by 20%. Pretty good. Going to the ultimate, attacks an enemy 7 times at random. Okay. So we could attack the same target multiple times, but we could hit AoEs as well. Just remember that. 35% chance to decrease the target's turn meter by 10%. Additional attacks against it reduces it by 5. Okay. But we've got Awakenings. So our Awakening 1, initiative down 2 for 2 turns. Awakening 3, if the target turn meter is reduced by to 0, we stun them. Oh, that's insane. Ooh. So we've got our core and ultimate turn meter manipulator here, right? He's trying to reduce you down to 0. And if we can reduce you down to 0, we're stunning them, which is a pretty cool little ability here. The passive says when an enemy has a turn meter decrease, we increase our turn meter by 4%. So the way I'm looking at that per run is pretty simple. He is going to be that 3rd, 4th hero in your turn meter team, no matter what, right? You're definitely going to be running in 10 meter teams because you want to be able to get multiple instances off just from the imprint itself. And if you've got a little bit of help, just one hero, for example, to reduce turn meter, with their help, per run can basically be your stun bot when you need him to stun. He can also reduce their turn meter to keep it so you can keep going and going and going and doing some stupid stuff, let's be honest with ourselves, right? So, not too bad, but not insane. I think Perun is going to be a cool hero. I think the turn meter team might be a really cool team with him in. You got to think there is heroes, even like Pandora, that steals divinity, steals buffs, and steals turn meter. So if you're able to steal turn meter, then steal a buff, and then do this and lock them out of their turn and stun them, seems really good. Seems really good. He also has 25% initiative in the arena battles, so not too shabby. So on the final hero, and I do apologize if you made it this far. I have got the sniffles. If you've not guessed it, I'm a little bit ill, but hey ho, it is what it is. Still got to make videos for you guys, so hopefully you have enjoyed it. But final hero before I basically stop breathing, it feels like, from my nose because it's just gone. Svarog, Defender. Each time an ally uses an ultimate, decrease the damage received by this hero for 3%. So we already know what this hero does, as many people know. He places Blunt 2. He's able to do an attack down 2 and a protection 2. He's also able to do resistance up 2, defense up 2 for 3 turns with a shield. And many people do like this, right? The fact that you're able to put these stats on yourself, then place the shield, which is going to get even more value because you've got this defense up 2, which is very fair enough. The issue I have is stuff like protection 2. We've played alpha, and like I said, it could have changed since alpha, as many people agree, right? And these type of heroes could be a lot more tankier than they was. But in alpha, if you protection 2, especially these type of guys, I'm going to be honest, you took too much damage to sustain. And it's a really hard battle to sustain this damage. I hope I'm wrong, and it's really freaking good. I'm going to be honest, I really do. But I just think he's like in my tier list, he's an A tier. I think he's one of the better defenders in the game. But if I were going to pick him or Athena, I'm still picking Athena. I just prefer her entire kit. It just works much better. I can literally run double shield comps even and just have this double defender shielding and healing my team. Literally, like, I don't need a healer because I've got Athena. That's how good she is, right? But we do have some extra bits to Svarog. So his awakening bonus is each time an ally is attacked under the protection 2, you increase the damage of his hero's next ability by 3% and it resets on next ability. So if you was able to skip his turn, would be absolutely huge. But basically the way this is saying, if every time you press your core, you're going to AoE them, you also do a big bang, right? Because that's where you're going to be doing this on. You're going to press your core, you're going to try to put the protection 2 on everyone, you're going to charge up this damage, you're going to press your ultimate most likely next turn to get it off again. If you can reduce this core ability one more turn by using a hero we've seen already that can reduce cores, then you can do this again and do some big damage. Otherwise, it's landing on the basic ability, and I'm going to be honest, do I really care about doing a big bonk of damage to one enemy with my basic? No, not particularly, especially not as a defender anyway. Maybe if it was like a Slayer ability, I would be more oof, oof, oof. But at the moment, no. Ultimate Awakening 5, when an ally shield is removed or depleted, we place ward. I like that though, that's really good. So you put a shield on, it's been super defensive, you know what I mean? You've taken all of the damage, now it's depleted, guess what? We put ward on ourselves. So even if you're going to try and hit them with a massive bonk, you can't. You need to basically use a weak hit first and then use your big damage afterwards to follow up. So again, really do like this. It causes problems for the enemy team. Passive. Each time an ally uses an ultimate, decrease the damage receives by all allies by 3%. And again, it's just that's up to 10 times. That's a 30% damage decrease. It's just really good. Awakening 3, each ultimate also increases the strength of shields placed. So that's good too. Meaning, once you've echo summoned 3 times, basically, you've done over 1,500 points on there, right? You can have a hero that is reducing damage, is getting bigger shields, and the shields getting way more effectiveness. Now I'm honestly kind of liking the hero a lot more, just because of these 2 awakenings. But the issue is, it's going to be hard. It's going to be a grind, let's be honest, to get to Awakening 3 and Awakening 5. But look, we picked this hero for your Godforge mini quest. You're in there for the long haul, so this is what you're aiming for. So I'm going to be honest, I see what you guys are saying. Maybe I've been a bit too harsh with Svarog, and maybe in the future, I'm going to update my tier list on that, right? But definitely looks really, really freaking solid when you awaken him. I'm going to be honest. Awakening seems really freaking good on this hero. You get 50% defense in dungeon battles. It's a little bit of a iffy, but hey, you're probably going to be using him most of the time anyway, right, in your dungeon battles as probably the team lead in these comps, especially against some big dungeon bosses hitting you as hard as possible. Reducing that damage is really, really nice, so not too shabby. So boom, that's them all, literally all of the VYRAJ faction done. And I do apologize that, you know, sometimes you might have heard it, my nose has been a bit weird, you know, it's been a bit squeaky, you know, it is what it is. I do apologize, but hey, I still want to make content for you guys while we wait for some more Godforge gameplay to play on, or for some more Godforge news from the Fateless team. So until the next video, guys, you know what to do. Smash a like, comment, and subscribe. And on top of that, just to remind you, if you want to join a Pantheon, come join Camp Half-Blood. We're always recruiting. We've got plenty of sub-Pantheons for you guys to come in. So we've got space for you all, no matter what. If you're a casual, semi-competitive, super competitive, or you're a hardcore degenerate, just like me, you all can come. We've got a space for you here in the Half-Blood camp. So until the next video, guys, stay safe. Stay sneaky. Peace out.